Hey everyone, it's Quentin with DaaS Developers as a Service, and this is our first ever build room video. And this one is a little pre-recorded since we don't necessarily have a live schedule yet, but today we are going to be going over a couple of the questions that have been submitted to us and we've just been going over in the last couple of weeks. So you can get a sense for the kind of stuff that we're going to be talking about in this group and get an idea of what you can expect to ask in the next one, and hopefully we can have you live. So with that being said, there's a couple of quick questions that have been coming up and I think they're really fun to talk about. And so I'm going to dive right into them. I'm going to give some examples of what we've been seeing at DaaS with some of the companies we've been working with, what's been working well, what hasn't, all of that, and give you the details. So with that being said, I'll dive into the first question. So this is probably my favorite question I've been getting a lot lately, and I'm not just the only one asking it. Is SaaS dead? So has AI basically killed the SaaS model, and does it make any sense to even, try to build a SaaS company nowadays? Or the other side of that question is, should I adopt a SaaS because now AI can build everything for the most part that we need? And so really, what's the point of, trying to sign up for another subscription when I can just build it myself? And so this question is getting asked a lot in a lot of different scenarios. And so we've seen a couple of different examples. And one of them was this company that we were working with. They were a funding brokerage. So they work with businesses to help them get funded, get loans, match them with the right lenders, all that kind of stuff. And so originally, before we started working with them, they were doing everything through spreadsheets, just giant Google Sheets. I mean, dozens of them. They had tons of them, and they did everything through email, and everything was very manual and segregated. And so it made it really hard for them to be able to pull reports that at the end of it, they could actually make decisions about where they should make their marketing investments, how they should structure their sales commission payouts, like all the stuff they needed to know to be able to understand what position they were in to grow. And so we first started working with them. They first and foremost wanted to get a CRM in place because they wanted to get all their sales reps off of spreadsheets. And so we worked with them to adopt an existing CRM that many of you know, Go High Level. And the goal was basically to make it so that the reps could come in, start calling, start dialing, start doing everything they needed right out of the gate and not have to spend a lot of time learning it. Well, when you have that many people who've mostly been working on spreadsheets for several years, there's always going to be a learning curve. And so at first they were having some trouble adopting it. And so they asked this very question: should I just build my own CRM? What does that realistically take? And so I told them, with 2 developers and with the AI coding tools that we have available now to recreate everything that we need and get the customizations we want, we're looking at probably minimum 4 months. Okay. And that's just knowing how long it's going to take to get everything in place, all the testing, infrastructure, just everything that you have to put together to be able to have a functioning production ready app like that. And so they said, well, that's honestly a lot longer than we think it's worth to even, try to do that. And so instead, they just invested more into the adoption training and the education and stuff like that. And so in that sense, SaaS was not dead, really. I mean, it was, it did meet the need, and it would have taken more time. Even with a decent budget, it still would have taken more time than it's worth for them at that time, especially because they're not going to, reinvent this into something that they're going to sell and generate revenue from. So that was one example. And then with that same company, the back half of their business, where they have to, process all the applications and they have to evaluate the bank statements and just do everything that goes with actually getting somebody funded from a lender. All of that was also very manual. And so now with AI, it's able to parse documents much faster than a human can. And it's able to run a lot of the evaluations for matching the right lenders and understanding what product type they sell, like what's their business type, which lenders they can line up with, all that kind of stuff. And so with that, we looked at several different solutions, but they all charged per user. And they also charged either that, or they charged on like a volume scale for the number of like submissions that they have to do. And so we decided that for this kind of functionality, it would be quick enough within a couple of months to actually have something useful. We have to build that internally. So we use the team to build that internally. And within a couple of months, we were saving them literally dozens of hours of work that they were having to do manually every single day, just to process these applications. And, they also didn't have really clear reporting. And now we're working with their accounting team to be able to have better understanding of all that. So in that situation, it did make sense to actually use AI coding. And now, again, what normally would have taken, let's say, 6 months and a team of 4 developers could be done in about 2.5 months with a team of about two developers and a project manager. And so Those kinds of gains are really what people are noticing when they get just hooked on Claude and Codex and all of these AI agentic coding tools. And it has fundamentally changed how you have to answer this question and when you need to even ask it. Because again, a couple of years ago, they would never have even considered doing this, build, because it wouldn't have made sense. It would have been way too big of an investment, and it just was not at the level that it would have justified it. But now, because of AI, it's able to be done and actually be done in a realistic timeline. So that's at least two real world examples. And I mean, I could go on forever because I have met several people now that are building their own versions of apps. One of them is in the real estate space. One of them was in the fitness space. And the thing that really changed for them is that they now have something that they can prototype very quickly without really having to know how to write the code themselves. And they can evaluate it much faster because they can get it out to test users and they can get feedback much quicker. And so that is definitely a change in what we've seen, historically speaking, let's say, because normally with tech companies, with SaaS apps that people are launching, you have to at least have some technical experience on the team. And so with AI coding now able to build at least a prototype for you and you can actually ship it very quickly, that calculus has changed a lot. And so there's a lot more people in the market actually building apps and launching them and giving us other options from things that exist. And at the same time, there's a lot of people that are building things for AI agents like MCP tools and scraping tools and like all these different like plugins that we're using for AI agents that are made for AI agents that are built by AI agents. And so if you're kind of getting into this for the first time, and if you've always had an idea for an app and now you're seeing that AI can make it possible for you, these are the kinds of things we love to go over and give experience, for a lot of the first kind of milestones you're going to get, whether it's going to be your first bug report or if it's going to be your first, cloud build that you didn't understand or expect. If you hire somebody and you have to figure out how to get the, version control matching and the CI/CD, like there's some things that go into it as you continue to grow. And we've done it and seen it all. So that's a lot of the stuff that we're going to be going over in this group. We have other topics to talk about, like how to hire for somebody that's technical when you haven't really done it yourself, even funding and what you can expect for how to propose to a lender if you're looking for a loan or if you're looking for funding from an investor. We've been through this whole journey several times. And so we love talking about this kind of stuff. We hope that on the next one, we'll get to do it live and we'll have some people on that are going to be asking some questions and we will be happy to answer them. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching and I will see you on the next one.